And just in the nick of time, as I suspected, Ryan Reynolds is here to save Avengers Doomsday. Welcome back, folks, because as we suspected, Marvel right now is completely panicking. We've heard rumors that Thanos is coming back to the fold in the Avengers Doomsday because they are rewriting the script as we're talking. A couple of days ago, we talked about how both Kevin Feige and Bob Iger came out, talked about how Fantastic Four is doing great. Well, yeah, it's not doing that great. It's okay. It's not the worst movie ever, but it's not garnering the money that they want. The box office is kind of flopping because they wanted more. They thought this would be the first $1 billion in 2025 that would get them over the hump. And as they continue, they would garner a lot more attention, a lot more viewers, and the casual fans, as we've talked about, they don't have a problem with the diehard Marvel fan because week one is always good for them. It's been Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, even Captain America Brand New World, which was not reviewed very well. It didn't do well with Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb and all that stuff, but while it rated badly, it did rake in a bunch of money, not $1 billion, but it did well in the box office. Certainly something that the Fantastic Four will do, and lower than Thunderbolts. So money-wise, going from a poorly reviewed Captain America to now a very well-reviewed Fantastic Four, the money doesn't seem to change. The money stays the same. Forcing the head-ups, forcing Kevin Feige to talk about how Fantastic Four is key to the progression, forcing executives, hitting executives talking, spoiling Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. We're going to talk about that later. But now we have Ryan Reynolds, which I suspect this is a complete PR move, similar to Spider-Man Brand New Day, releasing every bit of behind-the-scenes footage as they can, not DMCAing anybody, so it's just free marketing for Spider-Man Brand New Day so that people would be more interested in the movie, especially seeing the Punisher and all that. Now, new information is telling us that the Hulk is going to be here too. So, just a few hours ago, on Instagram, Ryan Reynolds, on his own Instagram, posted this. This logo is of the Avengers with a red A above it. So for those of you who don't know, this is the mark for the Anarchy Avengers that Ryan Reynolds is clearly hinting they are gonna be in the film. We knew that Robert Downey Jr. did secretly wear a shirt with the West Coast Avengers, so there's a bunch of Avengers that apparently are gonna make it into this film, where there are gonna be variants and variants. Also, we had hints of the new Avengers as well. What is going on? So clearly, behind the scenes, as we said in the previous video, they are panicking. And I think this is a complete PR move to post the Anarchy Avengers teaser by Ryan Reynolds. I think that he talked about it with Kevin Feige and with Bob Iger to just steer interest in what's happening in this next phase of Marvel. Hey, guess what? Guess who was a successful movie who raked in more than $1 billion and crushed all of its previous successors? It was Deadpool and Wolverine, because it had all of the elements you want. It had nostalgia, classic characters, but also something for the average viewer who is not a fanatical fan. Right now, I'm sorry, but not everybody is selling the tickets. The last one to actually sell tickets and bring people into seats was Deadpool, and he deserves the respect. I think that it's time for him to actually make it into an Avengers movie. However far-fetched it is, however type of method they use, I'm sure his role is not going to be grand, but he could be an integral part in this. So let's talk about actually what is happening behind the scenes as well. Well, in a desperate attempt, what they've done is they've completely unleashed the unreleased footage of Spider-Man Brand New Day. So that movie is far off and they're still shooting now in Scotland. I mean, there's a myriad, just so much footage and pictures and leaks. They are not even hiding it. We just saw John Barenthal with a beard appearing on set. We have a fully dressed Tom Holland coming out greeting fans. Does this seem like an exclusive movie, or is this just a theme park ride? I mean, at some point you have to ask yourself, why are they doing this? This reminds me of when something bad happens politically and leaders are trying to distract the citizens from what's really going on behind the scenes, and it clearly seems like they are panicking, full-on panic in Disney and Marvel about Fantastic Four. So much so that Kevin Feige earlier commented in an interview and he said, I think that there are no 4 characters characters that are more important for the history of Marvel. I mean, come on, Kevin Feige. We're going next level. There are no more 4 characters that are more important to the history of Marvel. Are you sure about that, Kevin Feige? It's just funny the way he said it, really. So let's go back to Bob Iger. So Bob Iger recently gave an interview to Variety. So listen to this. The CEO of Walt Disney said about Fantastic Four. He said, Marvel's Fantastic Four reboot successfully launched this important franchise into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, this is the most political answer I have heard in a very long time. He didn't specify or say anything specific. Unfortunately, it seems like it won't meet the quota they wanted to see. He only added the successfully launched, and by all accounts, yeah, sure, it successfully launched. The problem is the second week. The second week drop-off shows you that people are just not flocking to Marvel anymore. It's just not that cool. It's not in the zeitgeist. This is the real reason. Marvel movies are no longer zeitgeist movies, and you can't force your way into it. That means that the MCU are just movies now, and some of them are going to be smash hits, like for example the Deadpool Wolverine movie that made $1 billion, sure, but that was a zeitgeist movie in its own way. It had classic characters, it had beloved characters, nostalgic characters, and just, you know, an ordinary plot that anybody could follow, and a good enough ending. But 2025 has proven to be a nightmare for Marvel, for the MCU. You have Captain America bombing, you have Thunderbolts, and now Fantastic Four is on its way down, for sure. The 2010s, when Marvel would hit $1 billion after $1 billion, there's just not there anymore. Plus, let's not talk about after COVID. Can't say COVID. Plus, let's not even discuss the post-pandemic. I mean, nobody's going to the cinema anymore, and it's reflected on the prices as well. The concession stands, the pricings, it's just not worth it. With the media available to people on their own homes, Disney Plus is really killing Disney at this point. Marvel and Star Wars by that account. Everybody's just waiting on their couch. Whenever it's going to be released on Disney Plus, they're just going to watch it in the comfort of their own home. You see, this is what I mean when I said that the behind-the-scenes footage of Spider-Man Brand New Day, I've never really seen that from an actively shooting Marvel movie. They're just releasing anything and everything about the Spider-Man suit, all the details. Everybody's glad when they see behind-the-scenes footage, and it adds to the mythos of the movie before it releases. But this is just way too much. And coming out now trying to say that the Fantastic Four are the most important thing in the Marvel Universe, in the history of the Marvel Universe, and this comes from Kevin Feige. I mean, I would forgive Bob Iger because he's probably not that involved with Marvel or anything else. He's the CEO of a big, huge corporation. But Kevin Feige is intimately involved with Marvel. Him saying this just baffles me, really. And outside of the Spider-Man leaks, the Spider-Man, and I should put leaks in big quotes, they're just openly releasing footage, I think. They have come out now and said that the Fantastic Four 2 is reportedly in early development in Marvel Studios, and they're banking on the Avengers movies to get these characters to be more popular. So they're just invested in the Fantastic Four, so much so that they are already planning. Jeff Snyder from Entertainment, he has been a huge insider for years and years, has already said that the director Matt Shakman will likely return to direct a sequel, and that they're not bothered by the box office drop-off of Fantastic Four First Steps. This has got to be a joke. I mean, nobody at this juncture and point thinks that Fantastic Four 2 is the most important thing. But as I said, releasing Spider-Man footage and talking about Fantastic Four 2 is the only card they have really to play. Now, according to Snyder, this is very interesting. There are some Marvel executives behind the scenes that gave some opinion. One Marvel executive was quoted as saying that he believes a Fantastic Four sequel might perform better than the original after the characters have appeared in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. So essentially, he's saying that the marketing for this movie has failed. That's why people aren't flocking to the cinemas to see Fantastic Four, because they haven't seen them in Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, and this is the branding that they need. They need more marketing. The thing about it is pretty clear, and I can see the writing on the wall. It's just not there anymore. People aren't excited as they were in the 2010s. Plus, there's one more thing. This executive just openly spoiled both Avengers movies, and this is what baffles me. They are fully panicking. Marvel executives are saying that the Fantastic Four will survive both Avengers movies and there will be a Fantastic Four 2. So we already have no stakes going into both of these Avengers movies because Marvel is gonna keep these guys around, and they are apparently not gonna die in Avengers or one of them. It's very interesting to see what we have read here. This week has been very eye-opening. Marvel, DC, the tides have completely shifted. I remember when Zack Snyder was in charge of DC and Marvel was just crushing it with the Avengers. With every movie they released, DC was panicking, so much so that they ruined the Justice League by rushing it through. Now you have the complete opposite. James Gunn successfully released Superman and now is planning a huge future for DC, while Marvel is completely panicking and releasing behind the sets footage for Spider-Man, talking about Fantastic Four 2 in the way that it discredits both Avengers movies. If I go into these movies and in the Avengers movies and know that nothing's going to happen to Fantastic Four because they must succeed in Fantastic Four 2, what's the big deal then? This was the beauty of the early Avengers movies. You didn't know who was going to survive and what was going to happen. This is why Infinity War was so shocking and left people with their mouth agape. Key characters, high valued characters died in that movie. And even though most of us knew that they were going to return in Endgame, it had a cold feeling to it. I don't know. This is a weird time. I'm telling you, we're living in the multiverse for sure, because things have completely shifted. DC is the king now in my eyes, and Marvel has to prove itself. It has to prove itself. Thank you guys so much. Subscribe for more, and we'll see you next time.